Even SpongeBob can't escape the multiverse trend. After the success of the Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, THQ must have thought people seem to like this sponge guy, we should do more with him, and greenlit the Cosmic Shake. Released in 2023, developed by Purple Lamp, the sponge is back, but is it worth the price of a Krabby Patty? Let's find out. Before we get too far in, I just want to mention my relationship with the SpongeBob franchise. Growing up in the 2000s, I loved SpongeBob. I played the games, I watched the movies, but by the 2010s I stopped watching. I had a blast playing Rehydrated and thought it was a shame they didn't redo the movie game as well, as that was good from what I remember. I was excited for a sort of sequel to Rehydrated, but it wouldn't have the nostalgia bias that game had. So does it stand on its own? You play as SpongeBob of course, and just him, no Patrick or Sandy this time around. SpongeBob gets a wish granting bubble liquid. Wait, what are they called? Bubble blowers? Bubble sticks? They're called bubble wands apparently. He gets them from Cassandra, a fortune teller that appears out of nowhere whilst he and Patrick are in Glove World. SpongeBob uses the magic bubble wand to make a lot of wishes for his friends, but he makes too many, causing chaos as portals open up, sucking in buildings and people into different worlds, whilst covering everything in cosmic jelly. He must traverse these new worlds to bring back friends and save Bikini Bottom. It's an alright setup, nothing groundbreaking, but it gets the job done as an excuse for the gameplay, so how's that? The Cosmic Shake is a classic 3D platformer. You can run, jump, attack and dodge. You unlock new moves as the game goes on. It feels good to control. SpongeBob is very responsive. It's just very basic. They haven't really done anything to improve compared to Rehydrated. It feels the same, which isn't a bad thing, just a bit disappointing. The game is a bit on the easy side. There is no tight platforming sections which test your skills. It's a very relaxed experience, clearly aimed at the younger audience, which I'm not going to hold against them. It's a SpongeBob game. I don't think someone approaching their 30s was the target audience. You have completely different moves to Rehydrated. Here you have a glide ability, a ground pound. You start with being able to blow bubbles that trap enemies for a few seconds, leaving them open for an attack, which I didn't need to use a lot. You get a karate kick which works like a Sonic homing attack. It's very OP. Here you can kinda spam it to take care of regular enemies. None of the moves are really game changing, they are mostly there to add some variety to the platforming, like being able to swing with a grapple. The levels do make use of all your skill set. You'll have to glide to make some jumps, or you have to chain together grapple swings and karate kicks. It can be satisfying to pull off and is entertaining enough for the runtime. Combat on the other hand isn't as strong. There's a bit too much of it for how basic it is. Most fights boil down to running up to enemies and swinging your net. It doesn't really evolve past this. They add new enemy types with each level, but they don't really shake up the combat. You've got your one-hit fodder enemies, the ranged guys who miss half the time. The more interesting enemies are the ones that float nearby and shoot you, but if you time it right you can hit their projectiles back at them. I don't mind these. Another enemy type are these round ones that charge straight at you. If you are skilled enough you can trick them into charging into hazards or falling off platforms. Typically they did this without me even trying to. There is an enemy that spawns more enemies, so it's best to deal with them first. Lastly are the big ones. They're annoying to fight, they're invincible until you dodge their attack. It's a good variety, they just aren't fun enough to fight for the whole game. Pair this with sections where you have to kill all the enemies, and it becomes a bit tedious. Bosses are better but nothing I've seen before. Big obvious attacks you have to avoid till they are vulnerable. They are fine but they do that thing where they spawn minions because the actual boss isn't that interesting. They will never fight you have to figure out, just survive till you can attack. A few bosses do try to change things up. For the one against Gary is about trying to stay out of his line of sight, and for the medieval world you have to deliver cakes without being hit. So you know there is some variety. Where the game shines is in its levels. Because of the multiverse angle there is a good variety in locations, not just your typical grass, water and fire worlds like in other platformers. Here we have a Wild West world, a film set, a pirate world, a Halloween themed rock bottom, a caveman world, a medieval world and a glove world amusement park. All worlds are packed full of references to the show and come with their own mechanics. Like in the Wild West level you can ride a seahorse, or in the caveman world you have to ride on rocks to get over lava. They are a joy to explore. They are linear, you're going from A to B, but they are big levels that will take you about an hour each to complete. SpongeBob and Patrick will also change their accents depending on what level they are on, which is a funny touch. Especially in the caveman level where they just grunt instead of talking. It's the kind of game you play with a grin on your face, not because it's groundbreaking, but because it captures that Saturday morning cartoon feeling perfectly. Exploration is often rewarded with coins or jelly. These are used to unlock the game's costumes. The game is clearly inspired by Mario Odyssey. Find somewhere that's hard to reach and there'll be a bunch of jelly. The costumes are the only reward. There is no life system, so jellies are only used for the costumes. You have to find a set number of coins to unlock the next tier of costumes. The coins are a bit more hidden or tied to completing side quests. It's a nice system, but if you don't care for cosmetics, there isn't anything else here for you. The costumes themselves are good, they also need references to the show, and there is a lot of them. I will switch out my costumes a lot just to see them all. It's a shame you can't unlock outfits for Patrick. Visually the game looks great, it's bright, colourful and has a lot of charm. Characters look more stylised than they normally do. Levels are detailed and nice to look at with the use of colour. Characters are also well animated and full of life, they don't just stand there awkwardly like they did in the PS2 games. It really feels like the cartoon brought to life. Expressions are big and exaggerated. SpongeBob himself will reference a lot of memes when he's standing idle, which are good for a chuckle, but might be used a bit too much. He does the imagination rainbow thing like 5 times, and he only did that in one episode of the show from what I remember. But it does lead me to think, has the show not evolved since I started watching it? Everything the game references I got. The guy yelling chocolate, the caveman level, and most of the outfits are all stuff from when I watched the show. SpongeBob is still on the air, there are not new jokes or ideas for the game to reference. It's not a knock on the game, it's just I was expecting not to get a lot, but it seems like everything was made for people in their 20s to get. It got me thinking, is the new SpongeBob good? Are the kids today into it? Or are they targeting an older audience who used to watch it? Anyway, let's move on from that tangent. The audio is good, it sounds like the show. I didn't find any tracks too memorable, though using Sweet Victory as the credits song was an inspired choice. The voice acting is great, but that was to be expected. It's the cast from the show and they've been doing this for 20 plus years, so they know what they are doing. Patrick can still make me laugh by saying the silliest things. Speaking of laugh, let's talk about the humour. I'm not the target audience, I get that. I didn't laugh a lot during the game, I'm sure a kid would love it. It feels in line with the humour of the show, it even has those gross stills from the show every so often. A few jokes did tickle me though, like with Patrick's sticky notes. They are collectibles that he wrote. One says, "My name is Patrick," and SpongeBob says sincerely, "Yeah, I can see why you wrote that down." So stupid, but it got a chuckle out of me. The last joke of the game was also funny. They get one final wish for saving Bikini Bottom, and Patrick says, "That was so fun, I wish we could do it all over again," which is why the world goes back to before you saved it, which is a perfect note to end on. Ultimately, I had fun with Cosmic Shake. It's not a must play by any means. If you have played a lot of platformers, this game doesn't do anything special, but it's still enjoyable if you're looking for a switch off your mind type of game. You could do a lot worse. Time to rank it. So where does SpongeBob the Cosmic Shake land on my list? I'm feeling number 38. I definitely had more fun jumping around Bikini Bottom than exploring the Savage Planet, so it's above that. But I can't put it above Unpacking with its surprisingly touching story and satisfying gameplay. SpongeBob unfortunately just can't beat it for me. Now if you excuse me, I'm going to have a bowl of nails without any milk.